This is AskOurMusicians.com, and we're in Pittsboro, North Carolina. A most likely place or an unlikely place to have one of the world's leading boutique amp manufacturers in Carr amps, and I'm here with the owner, Steve Carr, and we're going to give you a tour of the entire facilities here.
This room is storage of packing materials. All the cabinets, with the exception of the Raleigh, are solid pine, which we get from a local source. It's actually pine from this area that's they store it in raw forms, and when we order it, they go ahead and plane it and finish it, so it's pretty neat. The ply we use is, well, Lou can tell you some about this, but it's a Russian birch. A lot of what we use is custom made for us. It might not be that different from some of the things other people use, but we usually like to do a little bit of a twist, our own color pattern or something like that, so it's not off the shelf.
Right.
This is the final listening room, so there's a lot of tests that goes in the amp. First, there's a series of electronic tests, which we'll see. But after the amp is fully together, it comes in here, and we've tried to deaden out this room so all you're hearing is the amp. And all the functions of the amp are checked, you know, volume, reverb, tones. But a lot of what we want to do at this final listening stage is check for any tube rattles or cabinet rattles. So sometimes you hear music coming out of here, but often you'll just hear a very loud chromatic scale being played to test for any resonances or problems. So this is the kind of the heavy work area of the wood shop. You can see some boxes coming together. All the corners are dovetailed, glued up. You can see we've got a lot of templates up here for the different facade fronts of the amp. We're one of the few that has our own wood shop, and you know, when I started in 1998, bought cabinets from a friend, did that for a while, but eventually found that as we grew, it was difficult to go somewhere, get a group of cabinets. If you had any issues, you'd have to bring them back. It really began to be a problem at times, especially when we're really trying to get things out the door, and you hate to have to wait on some small imperfection. So we decided to do an in-house cabinet shop. But I'm really glad we did, because now we can prototype things very quickly. If there's any issues, cabinet shop's right here. We can also evolve and improve the designs pretty readily, you know, because it's direct kind of feedback situation. Yeah, the history of much of what we do comes from a blackface Fender Deluxe that I had. So the cabinetry, the idea to use solid pine with floating baffles. Most of the amps have floating baffles. What that means is, if you can imagine a box, the baffle board, which holds the speaker, is just attached on the right and the left. So the top and the bottom can move freely. And the baffle itself then, you know, becomes part of the thing projecting the sound. And that seems to impart warmth and snap, you know, like a nice bouncy transient snap to the sound. We emulate a lot of 60s Fender. They used finger joints. We're using dovetails. We just found for our process it works better, helps keep the cabinet straight, and is super strong. With the baffles, which are ply, and the facades, they really have to be strong, and you know, they're holding the speaker. So this is a better job for ply. For my playing in my ear, I really like the sound of pine. It just does seem more organic and warm. Okay, so here's another spot where you can see the cabinets evolving and heading toward their finished state. In the other room, the cabinets had, you know, rough corners. These have been rounded over so they're smooth. Also, any cracks or spots that we thought had imperfections, we've filled. And now these are sanded and perfectly smooth, ready to be Tolexed. Also, the insides are painted. For the longevity, I feel like sealing the wood with the paint is going to be the best way to go. And finished, sorry to spin around, back panels and baffles here that are yet to be painted. Here's some finished cabinets. Lou, head of the wood shop, tends to stay ahead of the electronics, which is good. Some of the new finishes. This is new as of January. This ostrich and alligator. I wish you could touch them. More wood shop. This is a kind of final assembly of cabinet, putting on feet. You can see there's a bunch of hardware, feet, handles, putting in the piping that we use. We've used a number of different handles through the years, and we've had problems with most of the handles we bought and outsourced. So finally, we ended up working with a local guy. He's been making handles now for us for a little over a year. These are saddle leather. They feel really great. They look great. They're super strong. We have not had a single issue with one of these. Rocky River Leatherworks. Find them on the web at
David Bowes.
Yeah, David Bowes. Okay. Beautiful.
It's not done until we put the nameplate on it.
This is one of the new Artemis amps. We haven't started to ship these yet, but we're building cabinets and starting to do the chassis work. Hopefully by the end of March we'll be shipping these. Showed this amp at NAMM and got a lot of great response, very exciting. But, yeah, I was just saying that, you know, with the Artemis you see such a long field of the ostrich. It's really fun. Yeah, we use contact cement for the K-hide. And yeah, you can actually see Lou do some back panels.
Fit and finish is everything when you're talking about a boutique, you know, amp or guitar, and this is all part of it, you know, the attention to detail. And, you know, instead of just kind of picking a number that kind of fits in there, you want it to just really pop and look good. And so we take a little extra time to do this. All these back panels come from a blank that is cut oversized, and we pretty much custom fit each one to the said box. That's why there's a number on it that's a build number, and the color, this is a green back panel, but so we blank out the back panels and then fit them to the box, so it's a perfect fit every time.
This is the main electronics assembly room. Got Dave and Mike. They're diligently working right now on a Rambler and a Mercury, it looks like. Most of what we use is custom made for us. This is a company in Chicago we've been working with for, since 1999. And they've been making trannies since the late 30s. They have a lot of audio experience. And so we'll spec out different things and get samples, try them out, and, you know, once we have it the way we like it, then go to production on certain transformers. Also chassis over on the racks there, which are made for us down in Burgall, North Carolina. We use aluminum chassis for their really good conductivity, and also, you know, they don't have any, they're non-magnetic, so you don't really get any eddy currents. Or the transformers, if this is a steel chassis, there's a chance that the steel itself would start conducting a little bit of current just from the flux of the transformers. Also, it's very light. Oh yeah, this is the very first production Artemis amp. We've got chassis and faceplates. We're waiting on power transformers, but this is the first article, the one they sent us to approve this design. So it's coming together. All right, this area of the electronics shop is where we do test after an amp is completed. First looks over all the solder joints and all the componentry, make sure that's correct. Then we'll slowly power it up with a variac and check voltages everywhere. Then selects a group of tubes it up, again powers it up, make sure once again the voltages are correct, at this time in some other places because the amp's actually conducting current. A whole host of tests with the controls, and then finally a listening test. The amp will sit on for 24 hours, and then it's pulled off, and the whole group of tests are done again. It's just to let everything cook at full voltage. Sometimes, well, most often, if there's a component or a tube that's weak or is going to have a problem, it'll usually fail within that first 24 hours. So it's, in a sense, you know, an initial stress test. And after that, again, all the the battery test, which includes running signal through the amp and hitting it with a screwdriver, so you can see if the signal on the scope jumps or deflects, which might indicate a solder joint or a tube issue, something going on.
I guess the cabinets and the electronics come together.
Right, we call it final assembly, but we don't have formal names for every room.
Okay.
In this room, we do a lot of different things in this room. You're looking at some of the finished amps. On that shelf, you can see finished chassis. Those are amps that have been built, gone through electronic test, and are now ready to be put in a cabinet. There's another shelf over here in the room, opposite sides, where finished cabinets come out from the cabinet shop. On the far side are some kind of odd-looking machines that are tube burn-in jigs. We burn in all the tubes we use for 48 hours, power tubes, and then rematch them. We buy match sets and then rematch them after burn-in. We also burn in preamp tubes. You know, the cabinets and the amps come together. Speakers are put in, reverb tanks if the amp needs reverb. Also in here, we do, this table's for packing before shipping. A lot of stuff happens here.